Welcome back to Louisville Live this morning. It is time for Karl Truman. We're opening up the legal lines.
Yes.
But first, are we giving away things still? What do they have to do?
We're giving away our Tumbleweed gift certificate, but not on the phone. You have to email us or go to Facebook and go to the wall. And we got Holiday World. Why do you want to go to Holiday World? So not now.
Email us or leave a comment on the
wall.
Email
us, but don't call.
But you can call if you have a question for Karl Truman.
Legal line.
276-2118. Karl, welcome. We're always glad to have you here.
That's workers' comp, Social Security disability, and if you, with all this rain, I know you've had to slip or been in an accident, and the guy right here who knows everything is there. But, you know, one thing that, you know, we talked about the oil spill last week. Is that just going to be going on and on, the big oil spill? I mean...
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, and the double speak from the BP CEO on television is just horrible. I mean, when he says, he wants to say, they're going to pay legitimate claims, okay, but he won't say what is a legitimate claim, and he wouldn't even apologize. I saw him on TV the other day where the commentator was trying to say, well, will you apologize to the people who you've harmed, and he would not do it. But that's the mentality of corporations like that is, he says, well, I'll pay legitimate claims, but the problem is he ever going to find a legitimate claim, one that he feels is legitimate?
Well, and I just saw online, I talked to you before you came on here, there's some lack of confidence for people going to hospitals and other facilities about the care they're receiving, nursing homes. I mean, there's a lack of confidence, and I thought our health sector is supposed to be at least better than that, than some of this lack of confidence.
Well, in my opinion, it comes down to cost cutting, corporate cost cutting. What can we do to save money, cut corners, reduce staff, make things a little cheaper, and that's where they run into trouble. Just like BP cutting costs to make this oil rig device as cheap as possible, and here's what you get. Same thing whether it's a hospital, a nursing home, or a product or defective product, or whether it's the Toyota gas acceleration problem. It all comes down to how can we shave a few dollars to make more profit, which jeopardizes our safety.
Yeah, and speaking of the situations in nursing homes, we hear stories about this, falls in nursing homes and different kinds of possible neglect. As far as those cases go, what do they need to know about what their rights are and what things they can go after and pursue?
Well, I've seen an increase in cases lately of elderly patients falling at nursing homes, whether it's being left alone or falling asleep in a chair, or one client told me about his elderly mother that didn't have her walker and walked right past an aide and let her fall. And one situation where the orderly was actually changing the bed sheets and flipped this woman out of the bed.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that these days.
Is that just sheer neglect, or is it an issue of being understaffed? And
it is sheer. It is sheer neglect.
Yeah.
I mean, that is neglect. I mean,
and if you've been affected by this, call us now, because Karl here can answer your questions, whether it's a nursing home or another health situation. 502-276-2118. If you've been in an accident, workers' comp. Karl's here with us every Tuesday. So you think it's neglect or just inattention?
Inattention is neglect. I mean, it all is neglect. I mean,
are
whether
the nursing homes understaffed? Or are they?
That's very common.
It's not an excuse by any means.
That's not an excuse. I mean, we place our elderly, citizens, our elderly parents in these to be protected and cared for. So one of the things that's important to be there frequently. If it's your parent, make visits, and and if you see something wrong, point it out and make sure, because that's the first line of defense is family members who can be there to watch over things.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It is hard to place in nursing homes. It's hard finding one that you can trust and feel comfortable with.
I would think that maybe asking questions too. I mean, cliche, you don't know if you don't ask. If you, for example, have an elderly parent or a grandparent, they may not tell you certain things that go on in there, but if you ask them questions, just ask them, how was your day? How was lunch? They might tell you something that raises a red flag that you wouldn't otherwise know.
Well, and sometimes the elderly patient is reluctant to what they would feel rat out their home, because that's their home now, and they want to feel accepted and cared for.
Sure.
And so sometimes they are reluctant to complain because it's almost their second family.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we do have a caller on the line with a question for Karl. Mary, I believe here in Louisville. Hi, Mary.
Clarksville,
Hi there.
Mary in Clarksville. Good morning.
Hi. What's your question for Karl?
A friend of mine has received an eviction notice, and they're supposed to go to court the 1st of June, and I want to know what's the worst that can happen to them. Can they put them in jail?
Eviction
Thank
notice,
you, Mary.
1st of June.
No, they can't. We don't have debtors' prisons, so you cannot be put in jail for not paying a bill, whether it's a credit card or an apartment or whatever. Now, the worst case scenario, I mean, if they have not been paying their rent, then, of course, you have to go through eviction proceedings. The landlord can't just go in and one night change your locks and say you're out. They have to go through court process for what's called an eviction process. And then you have a hearing, and although if they've truly not been paying rent, there's not a whole lot of defense to that, unless there are some other extenuating circumstances of defects in the property or that type of thing. But if the judge orders an eviction, then the judge will give them a certain amount of time to be out. If they're not, then the sheriff can show up and physically move out their property and put them on the street.
I would assume if they know it's coming and the landlord is just not working with them at all, then they probably need to do some packing and prepare for the eventual leaving of there, going to another place.
Yeah, if they truly do have, and if they know that they've not been paying their rent, then and it's tough. It's very difficult. But maybe look for some social service agencies that can help. But yeah, I mean, it'd be better to make some plans and arrangements than for the sheriff to just show up and move your stuff out.
About how long is that process usually from the time, I guess, you start court proceedings and to where the sheriff would show up?
Well, typically about 30 days.
Okay.
It's about 30 days.
Okay.
Well, you see the number on your screen. If you have a workers' comp question, Social Security, disability, have you been involved in an accident? 1-800-ACCIDENT. Maybe a nursing home situation or a hospital care situation. Carl's been talking about that this morning. Do give him a call. His staff is there to answer questions. They'll give you information, and he's got a great blog, too. So thanks for being with us here, and another rainy day, election day in Kentucky.
That's right.
That's right.
All right,
Everybody
thanks,
get
Carl.
out there and vote.